Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here. In today's video, we are going over the Xbox Series S versus the Xbox Series X. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, on September 9th, Microsoft released the prices for the Xbox Series S and the Xbox Series X. The Xbox Series X is coming in at $499 and the Series S is coming in at $299, a fraction of the price. The release date is going to be November 10th with pre-orders starting on September 22nd. Now you might be wondering, what is the difference between both of these consoles? Now I could spend a ton of time going over each individual line item here, diving down into the specifications and really spending quite a bit of time going over every little detail, but I'm not going to do that in this video. I'll go over things at a fairly high level. The first thing you might notice is the GPU power. It's listed at 12.15 teraflops for the X and only 4 teraflops for the S, which is actually less than the Xbox One X that came in at around 6 teraflops. Now, as to whether teraflops actually mean something is an entirely different story. I could dedicate a full video to explaining teraflops on how they actually mean something and how they don't really mean anything at the same time, but I'm not going to do that here. What you should really be concerned with is the performance target. So right now with the Series X, it's listed at 4K at 60 frames a second up to 120 frames a second. The Series S is listed at 1440p at 60 frames a second and up to 120 frames a second. So basically the X does 4K gaming and the S does not, but they both run at 60 frames a second. There are other differences to point out as well. By default, the Series X will have 1 terabyte of storage, the S will only have 512 gigs. Both will be able to be upgraded. The X will have a disk drive, the S will be fully digital, and there's a huge difference between the two prices. And lastly, there's a pretty big difference between the sizes. Now, talking about similarities here, there are a ton of similarities you should be aware of. First and foremost, these are both next-gen systems and they will play next-gen games. They'll just play them a little differently. The X will be able to play them at much prettier graphics, but the S is no slouch. 1440p is not that bad at all, considering a lot of people don't even have 4K TVs or 4K gaming monitors. They are both backward compatible with Xbox One, Xbox 360, and the original Xbox. On top of that, the controller for both systems is pretty much the exact same aside from color. Now, in terms of which machine is better will come down to a bunch of different things. First and foremost, if you're looking at pure gaming performance, the Series X is the clear winner. It's not even up for a debate. The specs don't lie. In terms of practicality, this is where I think the lines get a little bit blurrier. The Series S is smaller, it's lighter, it's more portable, and you could argue that it's easier to play games considering everything is digital. On the other hand, the Series X is bigger and bulkier, but at the same time, it can play physical media, both games and Blu-ray, and it can also play digital just like the Series S. On top of that, it has a bigger hard drive, stock. Yes, you can upgrade the hard drive in both systems, but it'll cost you. Now, in terms of digital versus physical games, you could argue this either way, but the industry is moving toward digital. And if you don't believe me, just pop in a disc that you bought at GameStop, see how much DLC you have to download, see how many day 1 patches, day 2 patches, week 27 patches that you have to download to make sure the game is updated so you can even play it online. A lot of the time, the full game isn't even included on that disc and you have to download it anyway. Yes, there are companies like Limited Run where they put the entire game on a disc, but that's becoming increasingly rare. I honestly think the biggest thing here out of everything is the price. There's a huge difference between the price on both systems. $299 versus $499 is a huge difference. A lot of people, I think by default, will be springing for the cheaper system considering it plays the same games. Gaming at 1440p at 60 frames a second for $299 is a pretty darn good value, but so is gaming at 4K at 60 frames a second for $500. Both of these systems are priced very reasonable and very modestly for what they're doing, but the $299 price point just seems incredibly more attractive. But here is where the lines get blurry yet again. Xbox has introduced All Access, which works a lot like a cell phone plan. You get the Xbox, you get the Xbox Game Pass for a set monthly price for a 2-year contract. After that 2-year contract is up, the Xbox is yours. The S is coming in at $24.99 a month for 2 years. The X is coming in at $34.99 a month for 2 years. There is a $10 a month difference between the two different consoles. At this point, it might seem worthwhile just to pay $10 more a month to get the better console. However, something to consider, the $10 a month difference between the two consoles works out to $240 after 2 years, which is more than the price difference between both consoles, which is $200. I guess you could say the extra $40 is a 4K gaming premium. Now, I have tried to keep this at a really high level. I could have gone into a lot of details comparing these two systems to really get into the nitty-gritty and find out the overall winner. But I think even at this high level here, I can determine the overall winner for me. And I think the overall winner is the Series S. What it really comes down to for me is the pricing behind the Series S. The sacrifices you have to make for the overall price savings, to me, is completely worth it. I think Microsoft really hit it out of the park with the Series S here, and I think Sony will have their hands full. If you think about it, you can save $200 over the Series X by picking up the Series S, put that $200 to maybe even a Nintendo Switch if you wanted to, or a down payment on a PS5. Anyways, that is all I've got for today. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are about my winner, the Xbox Series S. Let me know what your thoughts are about the Xbox Series X. Which one would you pick as the winner between the two? If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Thank you, everyone. Take care.